Happy Monday, everybody, and hope your weekend was great. Time for the Bears Coaches Show with head coach Matt Eberflus. Jeff Joniak with you here until 8 o'clock tonight on News Radio 105.9 WBBM. Good evening, Matt. How you feeling?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing okay. How'd it go today with the fellas, you know?
No, it was good.
A lot of work you normally do on a Monday?
Yeah, we had a good team meeting, brought the guys in, recapped the day with them, and really showed them the plays. You know, we showed them, hey, how we were 10-10 at halftime, and then I showed them how we dominated the third quarter. 14-0. Really nice job by the defense going 3 and out to start that second half. And then the offense, scored a touchdown. Defense went 5 and out on the next one. Offense scored another touchdown. And the defense did a nice job of stopping them again. So it was a really good third quarter. Obviously Kmet had 2 touchdowns in that quarter there. But then we talked about the fourth quarter, how we started off the fourth quarter, had a couple of things that we needed to correct, kick out of bounds, penalties, things that would cause them to get a drive and keep drives alive. So, and we obviously made that real nice play. Sanborn made that beautiful play, that interception, which was negated by a penalty also. So, and then they got back in it and tied it. They tied it up there with the interception return, to make it 24-24. So then at that point, really, then it's a tie ball game. So then a lot of adversities happened to that point. Now we got to reset our minds and do a great job. And then in the 3rd and 1, Justin responds, by throwing the interception. He responds the very next series, okay, just as he would with that 67-yard touchdown scamper. So pretty special guy. And again, we weren't clean on the operation on the extra point. Ended up missing the extra point. So now we go up by 6. And we were up by 6 there with, I think, about 7 minutes to go in the game. And we couldn't close the deal on offense and couldn't close the deal on defense. And we got to do a better job in those moments, operating, in that when we're up there and be able to finish the game the right way.
You open up some windows of discussion here. Let's start with Justin, because Jim Schwantz, who's on our pre- and post-game crew, the former San Francisco 49er, Chicago Bear, Dallas Cowboys special team stud, he walks in the booth these last 5 weeks, and he's an eraser. Justin's an eraser. And is that fair to say? He erases some of the shortcomings that pop up during a game, and he's also a responder, because I think when he does something he doesn't approve of, like the pick 6, which he says he'll never throw again, he feels compelled to just give it that little extra to be an eraser. So is that what he's becoming, I guess?
Yeah, he's obviously very special. First of all, he's a special person. He's a great teammate. He's a great leader of this football team, and he does it through actions. First, he's the first guy in, last guy to leave, and he is working the same guy every day. And he does it. He's there after practice, and as for 45 minutes throwing routes with these receivers every single day. So he's special that way. And we always talk about leadership. We say, hey, model the behavior you wish to see. And that's what he does. He models that. By doing that, he inspires others. He inspires this whole football team by the way he works. Now, going to the football field itself on game day, there is no question that he is something that is hard to handle for the opponent because of the ability to run on the design runs, but also the unscripted ones as well. The 3rd and 1 was a design run. Everybody knew that he had a potential to keep it, and he did what he did. And then obviously there's the ones where he drops backs and it does a good job of getting those first downs on 3rd down or whatever the situation may be. But yeah, he's special.
Fourth quarters. So the production is not good over the course of, I think, 19 fourth quarter possessions. Mm-hmm. 1 touchdown, I believe. But to me, that's a function again of a young team. It's a function of learning how to win. All those things we talk about. The 3 to 4 plays, the 6 to 7 plays that need to happen over the course of the game, but it comes to a head in the fourth quarter of a tight game. And you're going to be in a ton of tight games. My belief is you're going to be in a tight game the rest of the year, no matter the opponent, because that's how you guys play.
Yeah, and that's the way the NFL is, right? It's comes down to the last, always in the fourth quarter, you're always within a 1 touchdown game. So we have to learn from these moments, and we have to get better and improve so we can execute down the stretch.
And that also is defense. It's not just offense. The defense has to come up and make a play, make a big sack, make a takeaway. No takeaways the last 2 weeks. I'm sure that is something that you're...
Like I said in the team meeting that we had 1 taken away from us. The Sanborn interception was a great momentum shifter there. It was 24, I believe, to 10 at that point. And we take that ball away there, take it back to the 25, get a nice drive going there. We either punt and pin or we're up by, 3 scores. or 2.5 scores, whatever that might be. And that was a big momentum changer for us. But and then Gibson on the fumble they had on that reverse, we got to do a better job of, doing a great job in that when it's that country fumble or city fumble when they're on there in tight quarters, that we shield our back towards the opponent and make sure we don't expose the ball so we can recover it.
So we touched on the referee situation last week, touched on it post-game. It is what it is, but how do you prevent your team from getting defeated by it during a game?
No, you just got to reset. You got to reset and make sure that your mind is on the next play. You're going to have adversities. And like I said yesterday in the presser after the game, your adversity comes in many forms. And you're going to have to be able to deal with that. Championship teams, winning teams, they just bust through adversity. They see it, they look at it and say, okay, move on to the next play, and they just keep making plays. And if you do that, keep executing in those critical moments, good things are going to happen.
Do you think as a whole they have done that, or do you notice slumped shoulders and reactiveness?
No, I don't notice that one bit. I think we are right there in the moment, and I think that our guys are growing. We got a young football team. The guys are learning in these moments, and we're only going to get better.
All right. I loved what you had to say after the game because you brought up the fact, okay, you got 3 straight losses, 6 or 7, and that can harm teams, no question. You lose 3 straight in this league, it's like crisis, right? Any team. But you said, be there for the man next to you. Go deeper in that, you can, in our final minute in this segment about be there for the man next to you.
Yeah, it's really simple. It's about your attitude and it's about your behaviors, So if you have a good attitude, that comes from your inside out. So that comes from your mind and your heart, right? Your attitude does. And then your behaviors is the actions you show, what's inside of you. So what is that? It's be on time, it's be respectful, it's work hard. And those 3 things we live by here. So those guys are doing that, they're showing that. And to be a good teammate, you have to show it every single day. And that's what the guys are doing.
And the leaders show it, obviously, and the other guys show the way, but you also want them to lead on their own. So that's also been a big topic.
Yeah, it is. Everybody's a leader. You got to be able to lead, and you lead by example. It's not you don't need to say a lot of things. You need to be a doer. We want doers in this building, guys that go to work and do their business every single day.
That is Matt Eberflus, Bears head coach, following a loss to the Lions, getting ready for the Atlanta Falcons.
Snap, bootleg, Fields. He's got options, including a wide-open Kmet. Makes the grab of the 18. There he goes to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Bears! 50-yard strike on 2nd and 1, and Kmet with his second touchdown of the day.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. 50-yard touchdown throw to Cole Kmet. How much do the run plays set up those deep balls?
Right. That's all set up by the outside wide zone stretch game. So you have to be able to run that first, and that's one of our bread and butter plays. And we run several other plays too, but that's one of the plays we really hang our hat on is the wide zone. And off of that comes the keepers. You have the keepers off of it, where you have different various route concepts to be able to throw shots down the field. Sometimes they're just normal route concepts, like a normal boot. You got a guy in the flat, a guy in the over route, and maybe a guy running a deep comeback. But some of those times we take shots on those, and those are the post corner concepts, and that's what Cole ran the other day, and it was really good. It was a pump play, and he was wide open on the backside of that, and there was confusion in the coverage, and I thought Cole did a great job of really focusing, and catching that ball. Because it was in the sun. He had to turn around a little bit for it, and it was up there for a while. And, man, what an athlete he is, and he's really, really impressing us this year with his ability to catch and run after the catch.
Yeah, I brought it up both times because both touchdown catches, you're battling the sun, That part of Soldier Field at that time of day is challenging.
It is this time of year, too, because the sun gets lower, this time of year, and certainly it's hitting that corner that we saw yesterday, but great concentration.
So 5 touchdowns in 3 games. He had 4 catches for 74 yesterday. Believe it or not, this is what happens when you start scoring points in the NFL, right? It's the first since when. But Cole Kmet, first Bears player with 2 receiving touchdowns in back-to-back games since Johnny Morris back in 1964.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. But, this relationship with – and I've heard now comparisons also. It happens again when you start scoring touchdowns. People start looking for comparisons. But Mark Andrews, the quarterback with a running quarterback in Baltimore, there's a lot of similarities, Mark Andrews and Cole Kmet. I don't know for sure if you feel that way or scouts feel that way, but it's a heck of a comparison now. And with a QB tight end relationship like that, it can last you 10 years.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to have him. First of all, the way he works every single day, he's positive, he's energetic, he's exactly what we want for a Chicago Bear in terms of how he goes about his business every single day, and he's a good player. So a couple of those two things with his partnership with the quarterback, that's a great tandem to have. And those guys are doing a great job this year. Really, the chemistry, and the connection they have really worked on during the course of practice is really paying off in the games.
And he's born to be a Bear because he grew up a Chicago Bear, right?
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
He's got pro football in his blood too, so he's got it all.
He sure does. Week 7 through Week 10, Fields now ranks 8th in the league in quarterback passer rating, 8 passing touchdowns. That's tied for second in the league with the likes of Mahomes, Rodgers, Geno Smith, Andy Dalton. But overall, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, the specialness, as you referred to it as, it's a runaway freight train, just like he was a freight train on that run to the end zone. We'll get into some of these plays when we run the highlights, but he's doing a little bit of everything, and it's quite entertaining, Matt.
Yeah,
quite entertaining.
Yes, it is, and we're seeing him grow right before our eyes. And he's getting better in all aspects of the game. He's getting more comfortable in the offense. He's learning. We're able to change and adjust to his style a little bit, but also change and adjust the offense as we go. So we can't line up and run the same things, every week. We got to be creative, and we are doing that. And the offensive staff and Getz here are doing a great job.
All right, let's talk about the offensive line. A 7th change in 10 games, and which is never good for an offensive line. Tevin Jenkins unable to go this past week. Schofield goes in at guard. Just what your thought of that is and how it's all working.
No, I would just say, Chris Morgan, our offensive line coach, I know that, Austin King, they do a great job of getting those guys ready. They have the ability, those 3 players that don't start, to be able to swing in and out like that is really important. And Schofield's one of those guys that can move in and out. And he did a nice job of stepping in there, late in the week and stepping in there during the game. But that's a credit to him, the players around him, and also the coaches around him.
And Alex Leatherwood was active, but where is he at in his progress right now?
Good. He's doing good. He's, again, we're flexing him in and out as well, and he's learning the offense, and he's making steady progress.
All right. Last season, the Bears had 11 unnecessary roughness calls. That was number 1 in the league. Got the first one yesterday, and that was the sideline. Kyler Gordon trying to take the ball out, and the quarterback gets a little shove in the back, and boom. They're gonna do that with QBs, no question about it. It's but as a young player, that's another learning moment for the future.
Yeah, we showed that in a team meeting. We said it to everybody, and we've talked about it before with quarterbacks on the sideline. You cannot shove them or move them in the white. You can't do it because they protect the quarterbacks. So we showed that. We're learning from that. And again, all he did was punch the ball and maybe laid a hand on them, and then there they go on the sideline, and they're going to call those plays. And was it unnecessary roughness? I don't know, but they're typically going to call that most of the time.
Fields looking to throw. Pump fake. Now in big trouble. Brought down. Nope, he slips the tackle left to the 5. Can he get in?
Oh!
He does. He powers in and somehow gets in the end zone and blew through a Detroit Lion. Made something big out of nothing. Touchdown Bears!
Calling all Bears fans, get the ultimate VIP fan package with Chicago Bears VIP. Secure a game ticket and appearance from Bears legends and more by visiting ChicagoBearsVIP.com. Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with head coach Matt Eberflus. Just heard a riveting run by Justin Fields. Many things went through my head trying to describe that play, but seeing it a second and third and fourth and fifth time now when he lowered his shoulder into Deshaun Elliott, which knocked him out of the game. That was a vicious play by a big, thick quarterback. And I think you and I talked about this in pregame yesterday. Just the size is something you have to take into account. This is a big quarterback. He's not Dante Culpepper at 245, 50 pounds, but he's thick.
He's thick.
He can deliver a shot.
I don't think Dante could move that fast either.
No.
I'll tell you that. I played against Dante when he was at Central Florida. We were at the University of Toledo back in like 98, I want to say, or 97. I don't remember. But
yeah, he was a heck of a quarterback.
I don't think he has quite that foot speed. But
I don't know if Lamar definitely does. Yeah. Michael Vick does. But
sure.
Let's talk about that first before we get into the speed of this guy, because that's a 1-2 touchdown.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we as a football team, we did a really nice job of whittling that clock down. So that was right before the half. So we have a mechanics for that. And obviously we've been doing a really good job of that. Points before half. We're one in the league doing that right now with point differential. We scored 40 points, I believe, up to that point, and we have a plus 30-point differential. So we're first in the league right before half scoring that way. But and that's really a credit to the offensive staff and really the game management of that, being able to whittle that clock down. And we had a situation there, right? The ball goes out of bounds, right? They call it out of bounds. Then they change their call from it's a fumble inbounds. So we end up using, because it's a clock stoppage there, we end up using that. Because it's going to be a hot clock to start, we had to use our timeout to avoid a 10-second runoff before that play actually happened. So that was good. So we had 25 seconds. We still had 2 timeouts. We were all squared away on that. And then it ends up being where Justin drops back on that one play and just makes a remarkable play. He makes like 4 or 5 guys miss, and then he takes it and decides to go north. And when he does that, it's pretty special.
Do you ever hold your breath?
Well, he's got to be smart. We talked about being smart and being wise. He was going to score the touchdown there. He used what he needed to use to get in there, so he was smart that way.
Then the kickoff goes out of bounds,
Yep.
right? And now you get a Hail Mary, which you practice probably every week anyway, right?
Yep.
Defending that, but it's one of those moments though. It could have. I mean, we've seen it happen.
Yeah.
You just can't let it happen. But,
We did an okay job. We can clean some things up in the execution of that very last play for sure.
And I'm thinking Eddie, because I know Eddie he wants to pick, let's face it. But, hey, you never know also. Take the pick, get the blocking going, and stranger things have happened.
Yep.
You take it the distance.
Yep, you never know with Eddie because he's a good athlete for sure.
Exactly. The pick 6, that's the second of his career, but 13 quarters without an interception before that one. So
Right.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem right now.
No, the
Right.
offense has done a really good job of protecting the ball. That was just one mistake, one play. He'll tell you, like he said yesterday, he should have just dirted it in the ground. So the mechanics of it, the timing of it was a little bit off on that particular screenplay, and just should have just dirted it in the ground.
All right, let's get to the speed element now because I had a couple conversations this morning with some former NFL players. Everybody knows what speed looks like, but with the way he runs, a long strider, right? Mm-hmm. But he's still pulling away from guys, and he almost makes them look like they're standing still. There's some fast guys on that field yesterday. Has he got a different kind of speed that teams and players are not understanding at this juncture?
Yeah, I think that, just watch the tape. You see him break down angles. People have angles on him, and he just breaks them down, and that's what he has the ability to do that. His speed is as fast as it needs to be. I always say that. So the guys that are super fast, he has different gears than most people, and he's able to pull away from guys, as you saw in that 67-yard run on that 3rd and 1. And he's also able to pull away guys, from on the sideline. He can do that as well and get out of bounds. But he's been doing a great job with that. We just got to continue to be smart when we do it.
Is he tired?
It's we're working into our bye week coming here, right? So we got 3 games to go before the bye, and we're going to be smart about keeping our guys fresh. We want to really do a good job of being fresh, playing our style these last 3 games before we get to that bye. So we're going to be smart with our football team.
And because he runs so much, by choice and design, would it ever be a situation where his legs grow fatigued during a game that affect the way he passes? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, I don't feel that way. He's super strong, and he's got great wind and endurance, and he really works himself. So he's had that foundation in terms of his conditioning level. So I don't see that happening. But we got to be smart with him during the week to making sure that he is 100% fresh on game day.
2nd and 7, under a minute to play here in the 3rd. Goff on the takeaway, fakes it, sets to throw, pressure coming, hit, and down he goes! The jackhammer, Jack Sanborn. His 2nd sack today, that one coming on the blitz. And he gets it home, and Goff goes down, a loss of 5.
Great seats available to see your Chicago Bears this season at Soldier Field. Get your tickets at chicagobears.com/tickets. You just heard one of 2 Jack Sanborn sacks. A beauty because he's going up against a big dude, young Penei Sewell, and he had the leverage, worked him, and beat him.
Yeah, those are some of the simulated pressures that we run, where we're only rushing 4 guys, but you're simulating like you're rushing 5 or 6 guys, and we're just really dropping back into coverage. And so, if you have the protection right, you can get that right. And he did a really good job of just, hitting it, with speed. And he gets his pads down. He always has the ability to keep his toes pointing at the quarterback. He doesn't work away from the quarterback. He works towards the quarterback the entire time. So he has a really natural knack for that.
How about the other sack? What was the
Yeah, Yeah, the other one was we got him on the move. It was they're trying to hit the short pylon, and Joe did a really good job. Joe Thomas did a really good job. He was the outside pressure player. He ended up picking up the guy in the flat, which that was his first read, and then Sanborn did a great job of wrapping the rush and had a nice sack on that one.
And tracked down Jared Goff for a 3-yard loss. So 12 tackles, had an interception taken away. If you didn't, you win the game. I mean, there's conversation about a guy being NFC Defensive Player of the Week, honestly, because 2 sacks, an interception, wins a game, and 12 tackles. That's some pretty heady stuff for a second career start.
No, that's good numbers, and that's what we expect out of our linebackers. They play off the guys in front of them, and we've had some guys in there in the past that have had super good numbers. I mean, you can just start naming the names. I mean, there's some guys in our system that have had the ability, Hall of Fame type players, that have had the numbers in there. So we expect that out of our linebackers. Those are big shoes to fill, and those guys should be productive every single week.
What are you learning about what he is?
No, smart, very instinctive. We knew that, from the preseason, watching his college tape. He's got really good knack for the ball. He has, good ball hawking skills, and we're excited where he is because he does have good instincts. Guys can trigger fast, guys can move fast, they're quick to the ball, and he's got good tackling ability.
Nick Morrow, 3 tackles for loss, playing the weak side last 2 weeks. You mentioned good things last week. Same here?
Yeah, he was solid. Both those guys graded out high this week. They had a really good game, defending the run. A good week of defending the run this week, which is real positive for the whole group. That's the defensive line, the front 7, linebackers and the safeties did a nice job of defending the run for sure.
Yeah, I think I hope I'm right. I don't know. I think 19 tackles by the entire defensive line group, just the defensive linemen, which would be quite a bit for this season. That might be a season high. Am I right on the money? So did that?
Yes, and that's what you want. That's what you want. That means the ball's not getting into the secondary and the run game, and we're doing a good job of really snuffing it out at the line of scrimmage.
All right, Dominique Robinson had 6 tackles. Now also virtually, he played 55 snaps in the game. So is that the kind of production you want? Obviously, you'd like to get some sacks if possible, but that's not the case right now. Shared a tackle for loss in this one. Overall, what did he
we were getting a lot of production out of those rookies, with Sanborn, Dominic Robinson, Kyler Gordon, and Jaquan Brisker. We're getting a lot of production out of those guys, and that's great to see. Those guys are going to be here, and they're going to be working here for the Chicago Bears, and they're improving every single week. Now, Dominic had more reps because, Mo was out. Muhammad was out. And they were sharing the role really with Gibson was on one side, he was on the other side, taking the bulk of that work. And, the other guys that were in there, they got maybe 10 to 5 plays, and that was it. So guys did a really good job with their stamina. They gutted it out without having that extra piece in there.
All right, and Justin Jones, I circled him as one of the key players this week before the game, and just to be a penetrator, be a disruptor, he had a good stat line.
Very nice. Too. Yeah, he did a very nice job. He also graded out an A yesterday. He had a lot of good production, TFLs, pressures. You had that pressure on that big Hail Mary play, which I think made him throw it even shorter. But he's been productive for us. He's one of our captains and one of our leaders on defense, and he's been a nice job of really rallying those guys these last couple games.
He'll keep the ball, and there he goes, just in middle of the field, 45, 50. Green grass in front of him, leaving Lions in his wake, running left to the 10, 5, end zone, touchdown. He goes 67 yards.
Ready, set, and go to any Jewel Osco for freshness at your fingertips with every handoff. Get everything from produce and meat to deli, treats, and more. Just heard the 67-yard run by Justin Fields for the touchdown 2 weeks in a row. First time in NFL history to rush for at least 225 in 5 straight games. Fourth in history with a 50-yard touchdown pass and a 50-plus yard touchdown run in the same game. Sharing that with Lamar, Cam Newton, and a gentleman by the name of Ace Parker in 1938. He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. First quarterback since Tobin Rote in 1951 with at least 125 rushing yards in consecutive games. And he said it best, I don't care about records. I care about wins.
Right.
But what comes with that is this uniqueness that we're seeing.
Well, it's winning football, and that's what he does care about. So we got to make sure that, he continues to do winning football, which is take care of the ball, take care of himself, make sure that he's, staying out of harm's way and operating the offense. And he's doing a much better job every single week. You can see his growth. He's getting better. He's improving in all areas, and we're excited about where he is.
And, the inevitable of getting Walter Payton's name mentioned in these unbelievable records as well. First Bears player to rush for at least 147 yards in back-to-back games since Walter, and that was back in 1984. before the Bears became a Super Bowl team. On the day, that he broke Jim Brown's all-time rushing record against the Saints, October 7th, 1984. Thank you, Larry Mayer of ChicagoBears.com. But it's fun stuff for Bears fans because, honestly, there hasn't been this kind of stuff in the history of Bears football, this kind of production from that position, running the football right now. And the passing aspect of it is also developing, and more of it to come. You can understand why everyone's excited, right?
No, there's no doubt. I mean, you talk about the legends of the Chicago Bears. You go back to Red Greens, and Bronco Nagurski, and then Walter, of course, and all the great runners, Gale. I mean, all the guys that have been able to run the ball, with electricity like that, break tackles and run and break runs that are long runs. That's pretty special, and he has that trait, as a quarterback, which is even more special, because he's a passer first, and then has the ability to run the ball as well. And he's running the offense, doing a good job of growing every single week, but certainly a special guy and, a guy that we're looking at here as the Chicago Bears fans watch these games. You're seeing something special every single week.
Fourth quarters, passing the ball, getting touchdown. Is that the next step?
Yeah, I think it is. We got to execute as a football team. That game came down to us executing as a team. We needed to seal the deal on offense with 7 minutes to go, and then we needed to do a great job on defense of sealing the deal too. So it's not just one side; it's the whole team, and we have to do a good job of that in the fourth quarters because we know that these games are coming down to these tight games are always going to come down to that in the end.
I didn't hear your news conference this morning. They were asking you something about when you got here. What did you think of Justin, and what do you think now? Can you complete that sentence for me?
Yeah, so when you're looking at different jobs across the league, I was fortunate to be able to interview for a couple of spots this time, but I've had I think 6 interviews over the course of 3 or 4 years in my time as a defensive coordinator. And you look at organizations, but the first thing you look at is how the organization's set up. Is it set up for success? And then who's going to be the quarterback? And those are 2 things you have to check off right away. Do you believe in the organization and the leadership? And that was a definite yes for me with the McCaskey family. And then you look at the quarterback with Justin Fields being here, and that was a green light all the way. You watch the tape on him, you saw the electricity, his ability to throw the ball, his deep ball passing. I've been saying that all along. I got that first when I watched him from last year's tape, his college tape. I knew that's a trait of his. And then his special athletic ability, used the right way, can be a special player for the Chicago Bears.
I think it impacts more because you are a defensive coach first and foremost. So you know what is hard to stop. Is that part of it?
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what's difficult to stop for sure. And I think that when you look at the guys across the league, I came into the league, 14 years ago. So I've seen the drop back passers. I've seen the Rivers and the Bradys and the Breezes and the Roethlisbergers. I've seen those guys when they're in their prime. And then you saw the maturation of the game changing. It started to change. With the Russells and everybody. Lamar and Josh and all the guys they have now. Pat, all the guys and our guy. And you can see the maturation and the changing of the guard. The game has changed. So defensive coaches have to change. They have to adjust to these guys, and it's all about stopping the quarterback. And you can see it. And again, when I was the coordinator, we certainly had to adjust because we were on the front end of that when it certainly started. But it is an exciting time for the NFL. These guys make the league special, and it's fun to watch.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Matt Eberflus. Now it's time to look ahead. Brought to you by Bet Rivers, the official sportsbook partner of the Bears. The Bears back on the road Sunday, taking on the 4-6 Falcons in Atlanta. The Falcons coming off 10 days rest after losing to the Panthers 25-15 last Thursday night. Before we get into the game itself a little bit, I want to touch on some players. Matt Adams, he was out there. I don't know if you heard this. He had his shirt off in the cold yesterday, warming up at Soldier Field. I thought, what am I seeing here? Now, this is a guy who's braving the elements. Now, you know him better than us.
Yeah,
is that Matt Adams?
Matt is a little crazy, but I could see him doing that. I'll make sure he has a shirt on next time.
No, it was awesome. Believe me, it was awesome.
Yeah.
He was good. And is he close? Is he close to getting back?
Yeah, we think he is. We'll see where he is this week, but we do think he's close, and he's a really good player for us. He can do a lot of good things on special teams, but certainly help us at the linebacker level as well.
All right, Jalen Jones getting more and more action. Kindle Valdor out. How would you rate where he's progressed over the course of this season? Another undrafted guy, but out of the SEC where he faced a lot of great talent.
Yeah, he's doing a solid job. He's been in there. He's really done a good job on teams for us, as a gunner in different spots for us on the cover teams, for sure. He's a big four-phase guy. But he's also got his work on defense, and he's doing a solid job with there. He's learning. He's learning the game as he goes, and he's got some good experience in there, and we're glad to have him.
I know a lot of folks look at targets and snaps or whatever with the receiver position. Darnell Mooney is always getting a ton of snaps, but Claypool didn't get a ton of snaps or targets. Same with Pringle coming back. But, you game plan for each opponent. So
right.
Whatever you're going to try and exploit, you're going to exploit. That's not to say that there's a reason for that other than that, correct?
No, obviously Cole had the most, targets yesterday, then followed by Mooney, and I think Pettis was the next, and then Pringle, then Clay. But, I just think that it's game by game, and sometimes those guys were targeted, and they were the primary, and we had to go to the secondary read, so that happens all the time.
And then N'Keal Harry and Bayless Jones, do you have these conversations with these players, and how are they accepting them, and is it what you expect them to think?
Yeah, it's like I said last week in the I think post game, or maybe it was on Monday, but it was it's about competition. It's about guys delivering during the course of the week. Alignment assignment, knowing your job, doing your job, blocking the point, blocking on the backside, and then being a playmaker. That's what the receiver position's about, and we're going to reevaluate that every single week.
Are there guys on the practice squad right now that are making an impact that we're not even aware of that could be finding their way to action at some point in the season, or is that still an ongoing process? I mean, are there guys, how are they performing?
Yeah, they're doing well. They're doing well. The guys, the show team guys are really the backbone of our practices. They have to do a great job, and they are, of giving us the looks we need. Offense, defense, and kicking, and those guys are doing a tremendous job. They play with speed. They play with enthusiasm. They do it right. Their alignments are good. They're trying to mock what the opponents are trying to give to us on game day, and we got to get a good look every single week. And those practice squad guys are doing a really good job.
And that's something that's probably not a small thing, because you need them to give the same kind of effort that you're expecting if they were running a Bears play as they're doing a snap for the opposition here, because you're not going to get a true feel.
No, that's right. And, we're evaluating those guys. We evaluate their talent, their effort, their skill sets every single week when we're looking at on offense. The guys are looking at the defensive players and vice versa. So it's an important part. And obviously Ryan's crew, and Ian are looking at those guys every single week. And we're always trying to improve our roster. We're always trying to upgrade our practice squad and, upgrade the Chicago Bears. I
thought it was interesting. Nate Sudfeld, the backup quarterback for Detroit, had to be Justin Fields at practice last week, and he was out of breath.
Yeah.
They ran him into the ground. I mean, think about that. Who's going to imitate that guy?
Yeah, that's going to be hard.
Right, everywhere.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah.
In most cases, anyway. All right, let's look at the Falcons. Arthur Smith, you coached against his offenses in the AFC South, so he seems like a very competitive and very fiery coach.
Yeah, he is, and he's a very good coach. He's committed to the run game. He's big into play action. He's made his living off of that, and they do it better than most, for sure. And he's done a nice job for the Falcons.
And, yeah, they're fourth in the league in rushing, to your point about that. What's your thoughts on Marcus Mariota?
Yeah, he has the different. He has the ability to run the ball, just like our guy does.
Over 300.
Yep, exactly. So they have the disconnects. They got the quarterback runs, the design runs. Marcus, I believe, was with the Raiders last year and did a lot of the quarterback runs with them as well on third and short, because we played them last year, and obviously a heck of an athlete. And
they're 12th in scoring entering this week. Cordero Patterson, Tyler Algier, they have like 12 guys running the football.
Right.
And then you got a tight end with unique athleticism, basically wide receiver, and Kyle Pitts. What's been your experience with him?
No, they're all good athletes, all those guys. They all create a lot of mismatched problems for you, and they're strong, and they're athletic, and their ability to run with the ball after they catch it. Like Cordell is an amazing player in the special teams, as well as just him being the big athlete he is.
Yeah, if he's back there on kick return, he's been lining up 9 3/4 deep in the end zone, so he's willing to take a deep kick out. That's
nothing new. He's done that before in the past.
Right, so that'll that'll be a game plan thing for you, whether to
no
try to
doubt.
boot it out of the end zone.
They
or
got
not.
good special teams as well.
Yeah. How about defense? Grady Jarrett, always a tough guy to deal with.
Yeah, he's a force inside for sure. He's a big problem to handle. The defensive coordinator is one of my mentors, Dean Pease. I used to be his GA way back at Toledo, so he's a good coach. Worked with him for quite a while at Toledo before he went to Notre Dame in the early 90s, but that was a long time ago. But we've stayed in touch and certainly really respect him. Love his wife, Mel, and we're super close, but he's a good coach.
He keeps coming out of retirement.
Yeah, he does. Well, he's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator at a couple spots, so he's done a good job.
Oh, that's a pretty cool story right there. And there's a lot of ex-Bear players, coaches on that staff too. Be kind of an interesting lead up to the game, I guess. If nothing
it'll be
else.
a good matchup for sure.
Yeah. Overall, you feel good?
Yeah, we feel good. We feel good where we are. We're excited about this week. We got to get back to work. Clean up the things that we need to clean up, and just keep improving the things that we're doing well. And our eyes are forward to Atlanta.
All right. Good luck. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Enjoy the preparation this week.
Thank you.
That's Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Want to thank our producers Keith Johnson, Andy Gersher, Dan Barilli, and Jordan Treadup. We're headed to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Our pregame coverage at 9, kickoff at noon. Appreciate you listening, everybody. Have a great night. Coming up, CBS News here at the top of the hour. This is News Radio 105.9 WBBM.